Ever wondered how different the USA would be today if JFK had not been assassinated? A tantalizing question, isn't it? It's like peering into an alternate universe, a world that could have been but wasn't. This is the realm of alternate histories where we dare to imagine a different course for our past, and consequently, our present. John F. Kennedy, or JFK as he is popularly known, was the 35th President of the United States. His presidency, though short-lived, was marked by significant events that shaped the nation and the world. The Bay of Pigs invasion, the Cuban Missile Crisis, the start of the space race, and the burgeoning civil rights movement, all occurred under his watch. These events, along with his charismatic personality and his tragic, untimely death, have etched JFK's legacy into the collective memory of America. JFK's impact on American society during his presidency was profound. He inspired a generation with his optimistic vision for the future, his commitment to public service, and his call for unity in the face of adversity. His famous words, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country," still resonate today, serving as a reminder of his inspiring leadership. Yet, we can't help but wonder, what if JFK had not been assassinated on that fateful day in Dallas? How would the USA be different today? This is not just a question of historical curiosity, but also a reflection on the power of individuals to shape the course of history. Would the Vietnam War have escalated as it did? Would the civil rights movement have achieved its goals sooner? Would the space race have taken a different trajectory? These are just some of the questions we will explore as we journey into this alternate reality. So buckle up, history buffs, as we take a fascinating ride through a world that never was, but might have been. Let us delve into a world where JFK survived that fateful day in Dallas. First, let's tackle one of the biggest issues of JFK's era, the Vietnam War. In our reality, the Vietnam War was a long and costly conflict that pitted the communist regime of North Vietnam and its southern allies, known as the Viet Cong, against South Vietnam and its principal ally, the United States. But what if JFK had lived? Could the trajectory of this war have changed? Kennedy's initial approach to Vietnam was one of cautious engagement, escalating American involvement gradually. However, some historians argue that Kennedy was planning a full withdrawal from Vietnam after the 1964 election. He was quoted as saying, "I don't think that unless a greater effort is made by the government to win popular support that the war can be won out there." If JFK had followed through with this plan, the Vietnam War might have ended earlier, or perhaps not have escalated to the full-blown conflict it became. This could have saved countless lives and drastically changed the social and political landscape of the United States. Without the Vietnam War, the anti-war and counterculture movements of the 60s might not have grown as large or as powerful. These movements challenged the status quo, pushing for massive societal changes in civil rights, women's rights, and environmental policy. Politically, the war had significant implications. The perceived failure in Vietnam led to a loss of faith in government and a shift in foreign policy doctrine. Without the Vietnam War, trust in government might not have eroded as significantly, and our approach to international conflicts could have been fundamentally different. But it's important to remember that this is all speculation. History is a complex web of interconnected events, and changing one aspect can have far-reaching implications. We can't say for certain what JFK would have done or how it would have changed the world. The Vietnam War, as we know it, might have taken a completely different turn. Scene script. Next on our timeline is the Civil Rights Movement. In the early 1960s, the Civil Rights Movement was a pivotal moment in the history of the United States. JFK was a key player in this era, and his potential continued influence is worthy of exploration. John F. Kennedy was a vocal advocate for civil rights. His presidency was marked by several speeches and policies aimed at eliminating racial discrimination. It was under his administration that the landmark Civil Rights Act was proposed, a bill that aimed to outlaw segregation in public places and ban employment discrimination. But what if JFK had survived? Could his survival have accelerated the process of racial equality? Kennedy's presidency was marked by a delicate balance of political maneuvering. He had to appease Southern Democrats, who were opposed to civil rights legislation, while also appealing to the broader American public that was slowly awakening to the injustices faced by African Americans. Had JFK survived, he would have been in a position to use his political capital and charm to push for a more aggressive civil rights agenda. His charisma and leadership could have potentially galvanized more support for the cause, helping to accelerate the passage and implementation of civil rights legislation. Beyond legislation, JFK's survival might have led to a more profound societal shift. His advocacy for civil rights was not just about policy changes, it was about changing hearts and minds. JFK had the ability to inspire, and his continued presence on the national stage could have potentially fostered a deeper understanding and acceptance of racial equality. Moreover, JFK's survival could have also influenced the leadership of the civil rights movement. With a strong ally in the White House, leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. might have seen their roles shift, possibly focusing more on grassroots activism, while Kennedy championed the cause from the Oval Office. The fight for equality might have seen a different leader at its helm. And then, there was the space race. This cosmic contest between superpowers was a significant part of the Cold War, and under the leadership of President Kennedy, the United States was determined to win. The question we're exploring today is, what if JFK had not been assassinated? How might the space race have been different? Kennedy was a champion for space exploration. He famously declared in 1961, "We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard." This ambitious goal set the United States on a path to making history. If Kennedy had survived, it's likely that he would have continued pushing for advancements in space exploration. His vision was not limited to just landing on the moon, he saw the potential for so much more. Perhaps we would have seen a manned mission to Mars, or even further afield. JFK was known for his ability to inspire and rally the public. If he had lived, his charismatic leadership might have kept the American public more invested in space exploration, leading to greater public support and perhaps even increased funding. Moreover, Kennedy's survival could have meant a more collaborative approach to space exploration. In his United Nations address in 1963, he proposed a joint lunar mission with the Soviet Union. If he had lived, this cooperative endeavor could have become a reality, transforming the space race from a competition into a collaboration. However, it's also worth noting that Kennedy's ambitious space agenda was not without its critics. Some argued that if he had served a second term, he might have faced opposition from those who believed his space goals were too costly or unrealistic. To conclude, it's clear that Kennedy's leadership played a pivotal role in the space race. If he had not been assassinated, his ambitious vision and charismatic leadership might have accelerated the United States' progress in space exploration. The stars might have been within our reach much sooner. Finally, let's talk about JFK's potential legacy. John F. Kennedy, a beacon of hope and change, had his presidency cut tragically short. But what if it hadn't ended so abruptly? How might his survival and continued presidency have influenced the political landscape of the United States? Had JFK served a full term, or even two, he could have significantly shaped the Democratic Party's identity in the years to come. His charismatic leadership and progressive ideals might have further solidified the party's commitment to civil rights and social reform. His vision of a new frontier, a society where innovation and equality are at the forefront, might have become a central tenet of the Democratic Party. Kennedy's administration was marked by a youthful energy, a departure from the older, more conservative administrations of the past. This could have sparked a political revolution, encouraging young, forward-thinking individuals to step into the political arena. Imagine a generation of politicians inspired by JFK's charisma, his dedication to public service, and his vision for a better America. But the impact of JFK's continued presidency wouldn't just be confined to his party, it could have led to a shift in the entire American political landscape. JFK's emphasis on diplomacy, his willingness to engage in dialogue with other nations, and his commitment to peace might have influenced foreign policy decisions for decades to come. On the home front, his dedication to civil rights and social welfare could have led to a more inclusive and equitable society. His vision of a nation united, not divided, by its diversity, might have set a precedent for future leaders. In the realm of scientific exploration, JFK's passion for space might have propelled America to even greater heights. His vision of landing a man on the moon was realized, but who knows what other astronomical ambitions he might have set for the nation. In this alternate world, JFK's legacy could have been even more impactful. His influence would have reverberated through the decades, shaping the United States into a nation that truly embodies his vision of a new frontier.